Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Punishing Mav. We haven't played Punishing Maverick for a while, but I've seen some pretty cool finishes from both Harry1232, Harry Hackett, and of course Mark Strassman, the Maverick himself. Maverick in a good time. Hey Jules, hope you're well, hope you're enjoying work. An honor to be voted the best returning guest on Everyday Eternal for 2023. Very, very cool. I love that. That made my day. But yeah, the roos are good. It's actually getting quite cold here. The cold chill is well upon us. Tonight was actually quite chilly, and tomorrow morning's supposed to be very cold, so gonna see how that goes. Hey Elo, all the best for your league with Abzan. There's a few things to consider here. I've gone with Spirit of Labyrinths over Thalia's because of the higher density of non-creature spells. I was going to go Esper Sentinel over Mother of Runes, but with the spirits it can be a little bit awkward, and I still don't mind Mum here, so pretty happy to see that. We were going to try out Containment Priest. I think Containment Priest has some nice flexibility in the format right now, and it's a pretty solid hate bear against things like Reanimator, or elves, or sometimes other sort of green suns or vile decks if we really want to pressure that. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I do love Esper Sentinel, because there are going to be times where Esper Sentinel is just going to trigger in our opponent's turn, so I could see that. I think tonight I'll just keep a good eye on when we play Mum and when maybe Esper Sentinel would have been a better draw, but we'll see how that goes. Exactly. The chalices have actually been quite nice as well. Obviously against combo, it does still go in that you have to get a turn kind of group of cards like Deafening Silence or Holding Up Blast. It's like Mindbreak Trap or Surgical, where you can, obviously interact on your opponent's turn, but having the flexibility of coming in like against 8 cast has been fantastic. So I got chalices there as well. The board pretty much for combo, and then the main deck pretty well suited for fair decks, having Punishing Fire, Minsc and Boo, Swords to Plowshares, obviously big creatures, Mother of Runes. We're going to do pretty well. The mana base is, I think, okay. I know a lot of Punishing Fire decks don't run Cradle. I'm just a big fan of it. And I think in this list, especially with quite a high creature count still, I'm still happy to play Cradle. But I think from a budget perspective, you could do without the Cradle here. Probably play another fetch land, potentially even play a Urza Saga, and have a target or two in the main deck and sideboard. Probably Shadow Spear, and then either something like Needle or Soul Guide Lantern. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with this like 101, and we'll see how it goes from there. So pretty keen to jump into a league. Yeah, just nice to come back and play some Mav. Especially Punishing. Punishing's always in a weird spot. Obviously, it hasn't crept in power as much as other cards have, but there's been a lot of times in the past few weeks where it's like, man, if I had Punishing Fire here, it would be quite good. Play points. Nice. Gameplay. Very cool. But yeah, huge shout out to Harry and Mark, of course, who have been really championing the deck, and some others as well. If you check out MTG Goldfish, there's a lot of 5-0s recently with Maverick, which is really cool. And the best part is there's some with Punishing, there's some with Abzan. Harry did play a green-white version a little while ago that did really well. I think it had a light splash, maybe like 1 Bayou for a Grist and 2 Plague Engineers in the board, which is pretty much where you want to be with Abzan these days. As much as I love green-white, it's really hard to not splash. It's really hard. Even just that 1 Jewel for Grist, it's in a really weird spot. I've also gone with I did go with a 3-2 split of Noble and Ignobled. I didn't play Birds of Paradise in this list, but with the mums you could because it's a little bit better against something like Murktide if you want to buy some time. We do have Script Ranger for that, but I really like that all my mana dorks can attack a Teferi and also take the initiative by themselves, so we'll see how that goes. Bowmaster does get released tomorrow, I believe. Gonna be pretty interesting to see what the price of those are. I'm going to assume around 40 or 50 ticks to start off with, and then probably spike up and then spike back down. This hand's solid as well. We have access to jewels, we have access to all colors, we have a turn 1 acceleration or removal piece, and then turn 2 hate and Spirit of Labyrinth, so pretty happy to keep this. But hey, I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having great weeks. And if not, I hope your week starts to get great from here. Here's a question. For anyone who likes playing competitive paper events, other than maybe a time perspective being what can be the big breaker here, what do you think about best of 3 Swiss, but then when it gets to the finals, so quarters, semis, and finals, being best of 5? So looking at first 2 games, no sideboard, next 3 games, sideboard. I really like the thought of going to like best of 5 for... You like best of 5 playoffs? Hey, Punishing Waterfalls, nice. I wish there was more. I wish there was more coverage with them as well. Because I get that they are long, but I just love them. I think there's something a little bit different. But obviously time is a big consideration as well for, you know, long events, and top 8s at, you know, maybe 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday. Might get stuck. In casual pub games we play that. Very cool. I've played a little bit of Ren and Realmbreaker, but not as much as I hoped. Obviously here, I think with this opening, we're up against... up against Mono-G Cloudpost, which is a pretty good matchup for us, especially having the Outland Liberator here for the Needle to, you know, turn on Wasteland. But we'll see if we can get some value off this. But next turn, being able to play Wasteland and Night is pretty huge as well. The question is, do they have another green source? Because then they can hold up crop rotation. They do. But do they use it? You think it should be best of 4? Interesting. Do you think 2 pre, 3 post board, best of 5 favors combo a bit much? That could definitely be consideration as well. I would say this would be for the modern format as a tournament. I think in Legacy can be a bit of a tough one. I'm not sure. I know that like old Modern used to have kind of the... It used to be a very like sideboard heavy game. What do I want to do here? I think I'm happy just to Swords the Elf, untap, attack with the Liberator, play the Knight, play the Wasteland. Okay. I think we're just attacking and then holding up Wasteland to activate the Outland Liberator if I need to, but Post doesn't typically have removal in the main deck outside of maybe Blast Zone, which is quite good for us. But, I mean, a pretty great start for us against Cloudpost, which I would say is a favored matchup for Maverick. You have a lot of great tools for them, and we've gone Mana Acceleration into an answer for Pithing Needle, keeping us off Wasteland, into Wasteland and Night, and also Swords on the Reclaimer. So I don't think we could have asked for really a better start. Another Needle does make things tricky, but it's not the end of the world. I assume it's just another Wasteland hit. Which, to be fair, if our opponent wants to hold up the Reclaimer, it is less mana for them to start casting spells, which means this Liberator is probably going to flip at some point. Glimmer Post. Okay. One game I've actually gotten into quite addictively recently is Sudoku. Sudoku is my jam. Big fan, big fan. Oh, okay. So we do have Green Suns for Questing Beast. We obviously have Cradle as well to do some pretty cool shenanigans. Let's have a quick look. I don't mind Questing Beast just to get like damage going. They can crop end step for a Cloudpost, which will be 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. A land would be 6. We're definitely playing a land. Fetching. I will get a Taiga. I guess we can actually go for Plateau, which gives us access to pretty much all our colors through our jewels. The question is, how do I want to attack? If I tap this 5 mana for Green Suns for Questing Beast, it's 4, 5, 6, 10, which is a 2-turn clock, which is pretty nice. It also means that Green Suns is... it makes it hard for them to have Karakas for the Beast because it comes in tapped off the Reclaimer next turn, and if they want to use a crop rotation for Karakas, that's pretty good for us anyway, so... We could also play both spirits out, and then just get Cradle, which is pretty nice as well. I think we might just do that. It means we can't attack with the Knight, but it means that the following turn we have a much larger threat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to keep this up just for the Atlan Liberator as a just in case. We do have 3 Minskin Brews. We just can't Green Suns for it, sadly. I wish. I hope there comes a time where a artifact has just a static ability of all planeswalkers in your deck are also creatures. Beast. All good elo. Hopefully Cupboard Live is working. Big shout out to those guys. And of course James Hugh and the Humans of Magic podcast. So next turn, even if they block the Knight, they're taking 4, 7, 10, 12. Okay, Bog does change things a little bit, but not too bad. Oh, they didn't cast a spell, so the Atlan Liberator flips here, which is pretty huge. That means that the needles are now taken care of. Attack them with all. We'll take out 1. What's the most you would pay for said creature or planeswalkers in deck? So probably 2. I think 2. If it was 3 or more, I think we'd have to have a little bit more. Like search your library for a planeswalker and put it into your hand or something. I think like a 2/2 for 2. It seems like a kind of hate bearish creature. So thankfully in this position, crop rotation for... Oh, they could have endurance. I didn't think of this. Okay. Still fine. If they block the endurance here, we can... Oh, 4... They have to block. They have to block with the Reclaimer. And thankfully here we can use the Forest to pop the Trapbreaker to kill the Needle, and then potentially just wasteland our own land, because that allows us to make the Knight a 4/4. A love bear, nice. So currently they have to block at least one creature. 3, 6, 10. If only this had first strike as well. I'm still happy to keep the knight alive. So let's go second hit this. Wasteland our own land. They go to 6, we play this and pass. Okay. I wonder if Titan there changes things, because they could get, say, Cloudpost and Glimmerpost. A little bit fortunate, let's be honest. Not too much for this matchup, and that's just because it's generally quite well in our favor. I do like the Force of Vigors, of course. I'm not a big fan of like trying to surgical Cloudpost. The endurances can be okay. Sometimes that is better than something else. The mums are mainly either fogs to some extent or allowing our creatures to go through, which I don't mind. It could just be the Force Spirits, to be fair. And then having like a higher green count for the Force of Vigors is quite nice. But the Endurance is also keeping down the Reclaimers, potentially stifling a Reanimator. But I don't mind the speed of Spirit, that's the only thing. Being a 3 power creature on turn 2 is quite nice. I don't think this is a Containment Priest matchup. Like, they do have Green Suns, but pretty happy just to see how this goes. Really, that turn 1 acceleration, turn 2 Knight is where we want to be. A hand like this is just a bit too slow. Not sure if there's any, maybe like a blue or like a Jeskai control deck. I might keep this, but it's always pretty risky not being able to have some effect on the early game. This hand is fine, but I think there's a better 5. Especially when it's really just like 2 lands, Noble and Knight, which we're looking for, which all have a high capacity. Like 2 lands, Noble, Knight, Sword. Sword, Knight, 2. Like this is pretty close to that. So I'm pretty happy to keep this. We like the Sword. We like the Wasteland. I do like keeping 3 lands. So I think it's going to be the Plains. And probably the Reanimator. I think Reanimator we can just... It's pretty interesting, because on turn 4, Reanimator gets back the fetch land straight away. We also have more copies of Knight. Interesting. I think it's Knight. I think Knight's just a little bit too strong. But could go either way there. Reanimator turning on the graveyard as a resource is really nice. Caracas. Needle. Okay. One card to be a little bit wary of sometimes is Surgical out of their board. Okay. I think I want to see map. Okay. I was going to say green source into green suns. Okay. Hey Sahar, welcome. Hope you're well. Pretty happy just to upkeep fetch here. Don't really want to draw the Savannah. We drew up 2 though, so there's always the chance of pretty much drawing the Savannah. No green source from them yet outside of this map. Very glad to hear. Hope the PhD world is treating you well, Sahar. Okay. Again. Okay, that's pretty great. I can only assume that in their end step they're going to sack the map to get another Cloudpost or potentially a green source. Potentially even a Yavimaya. Play the Yavimaya and then they have 6 mana with 2 green for prime time. And there's Yavimaya. Wow, just a pass back. I didn't expect that. Ooh. Okay. What I'm going to do is just go to their, probably their draw step. Doesn't really matter. I think we might just go upkeep. So that at least if they have crop rotation, they use it in their turn. I'm also just going to go straight after the Cloudpost because if they crop that away, it's the card I want them to get rid of. But I think going for the Yav means they definitely have at least a crop. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think in this spot then, I'm happy to go after the Yav to take them off green at sorcery speed. Okay, they wanted to keep that. Sure. They don't typically play a second though, so I assume here we see a fetch or a forest. Another post. Okay. Green source. Ooh, that's quite nice. Could have also not played the canopy here, so I could play the land again. Yeah, I think that was incorrect. I think I should have not played this, so I could play this and then hold up the white source. Actually, there's no point, because they can't cast Endurance here, to float white, because it just gives away that I have Source to Plowshares. One nice little trick here as well is that because we have Taiga, we can sack the Taiga, get Dryad Arbor, use Script Ranger to put Dryad Arbor back in our hand as a forest, and then pitch the Dryad Arbor as a green card to the Force of Vigor, which is really cool. So we kind of, in this situation, always have a green card for the Force of Vigor. Okay. I assume we're just going to see a Bajuka Bog here to buy time. Bajuka Bog. Yeah. Honestly, that's great for us. I think that shows that they aren't in a position where they can go too quick. So we already used 1, 2, 3. We might as well take away this Cloudpost as well. But then I don't have another land to sack, which isn't the worst either. Hey Penguin. I have run into Acast a fair bit, which is always like, I find it a really interesting matchup for both Maverick and Depths. I think Depths has a little bit more power to it because of cards like Tower of the Magistrate. But, yeah, we can't actually because we need to sack the Taiga. Yeah. So, again, just rushing with my land drops here with the Canopy. I think what I should have done is, yeah, the previous turn, obviously, not play the Canopy, because then this turn we could use the Taiga to cast the Noble, return the Taiga to untap the Knight, play the Taiga, and then sacrifice the Taiga to take out the Cloudpost. But here we are. I think one big thing against Acast when you're on really a Karakas deck is making sure you're putting yourself in a position to use Karakas on both Emery and Sai, and then keep your Swords of Plowshares for the real threats. Elemental, okay. So does that, in my mind, that tells me that they do have Endurance in hand. So here we do want to sword this. It does gain them time, but that's fine. I think the best draw is just Green Suns for Ramanap. Endurance doesn't do a whole lot here. We do get to attack. The question is, do I want to trade away this Canopy? I think at this stage, because we have Script Ranger and a Noble Hierarch, I'm happy to draw a card. And I should have actually done this main phase 1 in case we draw into another Exalted creature. And there we go. So little things here you can definitely see where I'm just rushing a little bit and I shouldn't be. And I apologize for that. Because these little things do add up. Alright. Untap this, return this. Play this. Play this. Sack this. Last Wasteland. And I actually think here we're going to go after the Cavern of Souls because 2 Cloudposts are already in the bin. And I want to keep my opponent off elementals, obviously, for endurance. And it makes them have to have a forest on this draw step because they obviously didn't have one last turn. Okay. That's still fine. Ooh, nice. I think we just attack with the Knight here. Because then the Script Ranger next turn is potentially just lethal. Unless they have an endurance and mana for it. I think they block. Wow. Okay. My only thought there is because they might not get another chance to block. Okay, there's Endurance, which also blocks the Script Ranger. Oof. Wow. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Untap. Return. It's tough because they can endurance us, which means the knight will only be 2, and then they can actually also go for a glimmer post to gain life. So flinging the knight I don't think does enough. But I do think it's worth... Tough one. I was trying to think of a way to attack... Maybe there's a world where we're supposed to attack with the knight for Exalted, which would be 4. And then they can't block... They could block with both creatures, I guess. If we play a hamster, they do have the Caracas for it. That's the only thing. And I've already got the mana floating, so we'll see how this goes. I believe they have Endurance in hand because before they played a Cavern naming Elemental. Ooh, oh, so close. Because we can get Cradle and fling the Endurance. Oh, so close. What's the play? Cradle, fling the Endurance, but then they gain 2 off the Reclaimer. I think we do attack with the Knight and see how they block. There's also a cool trick. I guess it doesn't matter. There's the Endurance. I was going to say you could sack the Bojuka Bog to the Reclaimer, hold priority and put it in Endurance to put the Bog back in and then fetch it back up. Oh, they're going to double block like this. Is there a way to put... This is Exile, right? Yeah. So close. We can Endurance the Reclaimer to make it a 1/2. Will they use the Reclaimer? That's the big one. They are going to use it. Glimmer Post. Okay. Doesn't change anything, because if I Endurance them, I have to deal 2 to this and I still can't kill the Endurance, so I might as well just trade here. And then they're at 4. 2, 2. I might as well draw a card with the Boo. Especially seeing that they Have the Caracas. Okay. Also here we have a free block because we get to block the Endurance and then return it. Has to be prime time for more Glimmer Posts. Beseju. Oh, just a pass? They have 2 cards left? Oh. Might as well tick up. Has to be another Endurance, right? Should we get to Punishing Fire and finish off here? I will play the Dried Arbor as a blocker. I could have also played the Plateau in case they do get Glimmer Post this turn, so then we could return the Punishing Fire when they gain life. That's definitely an interesting move as well. I think keeping the Minsk alive is better, even though they have the Caracas. It does shore up that Caracas. And if they don't have another creature, they can't attack the Boo anyway. Because then we can just attack back with the Dried Arbor. Okay, this is fine. And now they have 1 card left. They don't attack. So I think what we do here, we don't actually use the Force of Vigor because we want to use this Endurance to fling the creature. Hey, Lucky. Another Hierarch would be a great draw. Yes, you are correct. Oh, okay. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Eli. Yeah, honestly. That's gonna be it. Nice. Sure. Wow. I'm sure if I look back, I'm sure I made Maybe a few misplays there, but really nice to get there. They were very unlucky not to find a Green Suns or a Prime Time, let's be honest, but definitely gave us a good run. That was a pretty cool game. HC Fox in the house. Welcome. Oof. Oh, it's a goblin, isn't it? I thought the new 2-drop with the, when it comes in, you make a dude and it pings for people playing draw effects. I thought it was a goblin for a second. I was really happy for you, Eli, but I believe it's an orc something else. It's not a goblin. I don't even know what it's called. I just know it's an orc. Not a goblin. It feels like it should be like a goblin orc, an orc goblin. I'm not sure if those are like different categories of mythical creatures, but you've been running into so much initiative lately. Tough. What are you playing? And if you're playing Maverick, what sort of Mav? Wow, 30 trophies in first place and then 14 in second and third. I wonder what cool Olimpa has been playing. Okay. I wonder what they've been playing. Nice. Up against Stew, right. Mono red, nice. Pretty sweet hands, let's be honest. Turn 1 acceleration, we have protection in Mum or removal in Weight in Swords, and we can lead up to a Minsk. No real downside here. Oh, okay. Well, I guess the downside is going to be Reanimator. Could also be like a painter deck, but I'm going to assume Badlands Faithless Looting is Reanimator. I also think with a looting... Well, they didn't discard a creature, but they found a grief. Okay. They're also down to 3 cards here. What do they get rid of? A ritual. Okay. Been trying Naya Depths. Not a single win so far. That can definitely be a tricky one. Dryad Arbor. Look, they've gotten rid of 2 rituals, so there is a world where Wastelanding the Badlands keeps them off Exhume and Animate Dead. I don't mind that, as it also gives us an extra draw into Endurance. I think if I had like a clear path in my hand, I'd be more open to another play. Okay. Wasteland. Also a world there where Mum is better, because then we can just play the Dryad Arbor, double block the Grief. You could also play Undermounted Adventurer in your 75 as a way to steal the initiative without having to attack. Okay. Look, even at this situation, I'm feeling pretty good. They have 3 cards in hand. We can draw into a lot of big creatures as well. Scrib Range is fantastic. That allows us to go... Scrib, Caracas, Mum. Could also attack if I... No, I can't attack. Oof. Okay. So 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana. So we can easily cast the Endurance. So we can play the Dried Arbor this turn. We can get in with the Scrib Ranger. And then we can even return the Dried Arbor to hand if we need to, with Scrib Ranger to pitch to the Endurance. They play the Petal as if they have something to cast after. Flashback the looting. Okay. Archon and Thoughtseize. So I don't need to Endurance here. We can block. Yeah. We're good. Let's go to blocks. Can block like this. Before damage. Pro black. And then Scrib Ranger, untap the Mum. Return the Forest. Pro black. Nice. And now we keep the Endurance. We get another Noble, which is fantastic. And now we can start the real beatdown. Yeah, Script's been really nice. I do like the kind of like 5 mana dorks plus Dried Arbor, and then the 4 mums as just like always having something to do on turn 1. And all of those creatures are also great with Scrib Ranger. Nice. Green Suns. Close. So we get 2, but we might as well just attack with everything to get the extra 1 in. And then we can untap stuff anyway. Yeah, it would take a massive draw here for our opponent. Nice. Reanimator. Reanimator on the draw. Easy ones, Surgical, Endurance. Good cards. Deafening Silence, Containment Priest. Deafening Silence a lot better on the play, but probably worth looking at. Cards we can easily take out. The Punishing Fires are pretty easy cut. The Minsk and Booze, we're just not getting to that kind of game. Same with Questing Beast, just cards I'm not really interested in. The Mums I don't mind, especially against the Grief versions. The Knights are good. Ramanap again, just a little bit too slow. That's 58, and I think Deafening Silence is just a better card. So I'm pretty happy with these. The only thought is Force of Vigor for Animate Dead, but I'm pretty happy with the Containment Priest kind of just being in that slot anyway, so. Chalice is pretty nice as well. You can go for like Chalice on 0. Chalice on 1 turns off a bit of your stuff, but this hand is probably a bit of a trap. We do have Surgical as 1 piece of interaction, but we don't have green, so we don't have white mana to actually cast anything. So pretty happy to mulligan this. This is a pretty fair hand with Endurance. We do have the Oof to pitch to it, and then we can start with the turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Scrib, turn 3 Knight, potentially. We did bring in 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces, I think. 2 Deafening Silence, 2 Containment, 2 Endurance, 2 Surgical. But I think going to 5 to try to find 2 pieces of interaction when one of them is most likely going to put me down another card just isn't worth it. So I think it's a keep, and I think it might actually just be the knight we put back, because I guess we do have 3 mana because of Scrib, allowing us to return a land on turn 3 to tap it again for mana. They've Mulliganed into 5 cards, so I'm happy to keep this and probably bottom the knight. Scrib does beat Atraxa, that's correct, I guess. I don't mind dropping the knight, just because we do have multiple of them in the deck that we can find through Green Suns as well. And we don't have Bojuka Bog, so... Alright, opponent's at 5. Alright. Alright. Beat is a stretch. Okay, that's fair. They put Archon in. They go to Animate Dead It. We will Endurance pitching the Collect Oof. Alright. Some players just don't want to play on, and that's fine. I don't mind it. Archon there, if we don't have the endurance, is pretty tough. Especially the sacrifice ability, like, we don't play the Mum, we discard the Mum. We don't play the Scrib Ranger. Maybe we play the Scrib Ranger at end step to be able to untap and have access to 3 mana, but without like Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile or some sort of clean removal spell, Archon is quite hard to beat. Turn 0 with Mav, yeah. Doesn't happen often. When it lags like this, I feel like it means we're on the play. No, okay. Well, sometimes that happens, and I'm like, ooh, it's a sign. It's not a sign. One thing I hope to say in this game is that the opening hands so far have been pretty good. And this one's probably the slowest that we've gotten. Not having a turn 1 play is pretty huge. And I think just for that reason alone, I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. Like, it's probably fine if I knew I was up against something not too fast, but what isn't there in the format right now that isn't that quick? Or that punishes you on a deck like Maverick to not have an early play. So this is much better. Happy to keep this and bottom the Questing Beast. It could also be the Liberator, just because it's a bit more of a bear. And the Beast, we have something to work towards. Definitely close. Really nice hand. Like, we have early mana acceleration, we have removal, we have ways to potentially save a land from a wasteland. I'm going to keep this. I think it is just the Beast. I think if anything, I'd rather just get creatures into play. And I think that although the Beast is cool to work towards, especially with Scrib and Noble working together, I think that potentially there's room where the Liberator is just an early threat is nice. But that's always going to be a tough call with decks like Maverick, where you have a toolbox and you're not too sure which creatures are going to be just a vanilla 2/2. And which are going to have a bit of an impact on the game. Like if this was like 8 cast, very happy. But Scalding Tarn fetch, Volcanic, most likely Delver. Oh, with the bauble. I think the top card I'd love to have is just a land. I would love to have a third land here. That's pretty interesting as well. Karakas into Mum I could go Savannah into Mum, but I kind of like holding this Wooded Foothills / Savannah for the following turn. I also don't like running my one copy of removal into Daze. I'd probably rather run the Daze into Mum. And I'd rather the Mum get bolted or removed than the Hierarch. Given how I find the Delver matchup usually runs, is that Mana Denial is a really great way for them to kind of stall us in a way that gives them the advantage. Okay. Do you know what's crazy? They also have Delirium already. Okay. Ramen up. Spell Pierce, Mental Misstep, a few cards in game 1 that are a little bit annoying, but I kind of like Sorcery Speed. Take your threat. Play around Daze. Nice. Fetch. Savannah. And Noble. No End-Step Bolt is quite big. But Murktide here... Oh, green. Okay. Look, it is a 5/6, but I'm not too unhappy to see Goyf here. Okay. They didn't have Daze last turn for anything. I think in this position I'm happy to play the Ramnap out and see if we can get a land. Okay, they have a Daze. The role of this Outland Liberator might just be being a chump block, but being at 6 is pretty big against a deck that hasn't used a Bolt yet. Hey Casey, welcome. Hope you're well. If I endurance them, instant, yeah. Honestly, here we might just be in a world where we have to scrib. Yeah, as I said, like going after a mana is a really good strategy from them, and a pretty easy one for them as well, with Wasteland Daze bolts. What do we want from this side? We want the blast effects and the endurance. That's probably it. That's 5 cards. Outland Liberator can come out. Collector Oof can come out. The mums are still good. There's a few cards that are still there. I think we will go... the Minsks, of course. Just not great against Bolt decks. So it's probably going to be these 6 for these. Maybe 1 Minsk isn't too bad for these. 2 Minsk, Questing Beast, Collector Oof, Outland Liberator. I'm not a big fan of Comet just because it is a... it's a random effect, so you never know what you're going to get, which I don't think you have the luxury of doing in a non-blue deck. I also think Dried Arbor here is worse to get than a Mana Dork just because of Wasteland, but they have gone through 2. But that's going to be Murktide. Pretty sure that's the only card that does that. Minsk, Questing Beast, Oof, Liberator, Blast, 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 Endurance, Endurance. Nice. But yeah, I think that was a great showing of how when your mana base isn't good, Delver's going to punish you really hard. This matchup also puts a fair amount of pressure on Punishing Fire showing up at the right time, because you want to keep your Swords to Plowshares for Goyfs, you want to have your Blasts for Murktides, so you want to be able to Punishing Fire the Delvers and the DRCs early on. Which in a deck without card draw other than Minsk is a little bit tough. Here we just have 6. Okay, we bottom the Dried Arbor, but again, this hand is just a little bit awkward with mana because of the Cradle. But we don't have too much to do otherwise. Another fetch would be nice, just to have like multiple sources of lands. Interesting. I think in this case, I'm happy to throw the Scrib Ranger into Daze. See what they reveal here. No reveal. Okay. So they should know about Dried Arbor blocks. They force this. Pitching a Brainstorm is pretty good for us. But again, one Wasteland here is pretty doom and gloom. Yeah. Okay. Happy to put them back. Okay. And at least they're brainstorming here, A, in their turn, and B, when we're kind of forcing them to brainstorm. But yeah, tough. Really good way to fight back. Okay. Look, we do have the option of punishing fire here if we really want to. Because we can play the, we can like escape the endurance by pitching the knight. But is that a winning line? Probably not. I think unfortunately we have to try to just get a land off the top. Chose to not shuffle. That's very cool. Sadly, won't have the time for the Lord of the Rings release events, but would be pretty cool. All right. We can hope. Hey KC, a huge thank you for the sub. Too kind. Yeah, brutal. I don't think there's a reel out here. Yeah, look at that. Just nothing. Tough. But yeah, like maybe if Rug sees more play, there's definitely worth it's definitely worth having like Path to Exile on the board, but I think yeah, just getting the mana right in those sort of matches is big. And the 6 definitely didn't have great mana, but there's a world where a 5 is better than that 6 because the Cradle kind of makes it a 5. From Kansas City. Very cool. I know that Eternal Durdles was keen on a new card from Lord of the Rings that was 1, a black, and a blue at instant speed. I wasn't too sure what it did. I feel like it makes your opponent choose... Maybe it's kind of like a fact or fiction. I think you choose... They look at the top 4, put them in 2 piles. One goes to the graveyard, one goes to your hand, and then you get to get tempted by the ring, which is pretty interesting. All right, on the play, which is nice. Pretty sweet hand. Pretty happy to keep this. Grove. Plateau. Maybe Painter? No. Huh. Okay. Honestly here, happy to play Mum. And then either hold up removal or go for Outland Liberator. I actually don't mind Outland. Getting that online would be pretty sweet. Ah, maybe this is initiative. Okay. Honestly, happy to flip the, I guess I could play around some sort of bounce effect for the Archon, like a Ephemerate. I think just because of that, I'm happy to Swords it right now. Oof. Get in for 5? Probably rather the forest here. Oh, I get to play it? Nice. Okay. Nice, we'll take those. I assume it's just because they kind of salted off by not hitting and making it a 4-power creature there. Wow, we don't have too much here. I don't mind the Endurances because they have Flash. I don't mind the Force of Vigors because I assume they play Chalice. But I don't have to have... It's tough because if they do have Chalice for 1, it puts a lot of pressure on us because we have a lot of 1-drops. Especially with Green Suns as well, ramping into Dryad Arbor. Not a big fan of Spirit, but it does stop them from drawing cards with both the Initiative and Palace Jailer. The Oof really only hits Lotus Petal? Maybe it's not the full 4 force. Hey, HC Fox. I don't know what I would do. I feel like I would have heart palpitations if I drew the 1 ring. It would be a really, yeah, weird feeling for sure. Just that, like, your life has changed. A 1-lander against a deck that's going to be a little bit grindy. I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. Better. Happy to keep this and probably bottom the Grove. Yeah. I could see the Tiger going just because Grove gets back. Yeah, no, I kind of like this. Turn 1 Chaos. Okay. Pretty happy just to Swords that. And then try to untap, play Mum and Green Suns for Dried Arbor to get 2 creatures in the bin. Oh, two creatures on the field, sorry. That's also pretty interesting. Hit Ancient Tomb. Play Mum. Sure. That's similar. Still happy to try to build out. They have 1 card left. And then touch. Yeah. That's a pretty easy concede. Maybe the... actually, the chalices on the play seem fine. Something like this. We do have acceleration into Wasteland, but a little bit slow otherwise. Ugh. Mana, not correct. Wow. Yikes. Rough. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's any point playing this game, sadly. Tough. I don't think like a Noble and a Minsk is enough. Yeah, I'd love to. It is tough. I don't think that opening hand is good enough, and the mana for the other ones just isn't on point. Tough. But yeah, initiative. Pretty back and forth matchup. Obviously, like their broken starts are a lot more broken. I feel like they can do a lot more unfair things than Maverick can, which is like a big appeal. Also pretty quick as well. Okay, fine. We have a spell land. We have Punishing and Grove, which is cool. We have access to all basics, which is nice. Yeah, it can be pretty tough. I mean, some of the mulligan decisions are pretty easy if it's like a Tundra is your land and you have white spells. But yeah, obviously the luxury of cantrips isn't there. Okay. I will just go for a plateau here. That gives me access to pretty much everything. Can you imagine if Spirit of Labyrinth had Flash? Oof. I guess that's what Aether Vial is for, but I feel like if Wizards of the Coast really wanted non-blue mages to stay up to date with power against blue decks, Flash is where it's at. Flash is where it's at. Without reason, that is correct. That is what Orcish is for. Which should be pretty cool. I think it'll be a very similar build. Okay. Orcish pretty sweet. I think Orcish will just take the place, at least in the builds that I'll try out, will be probably Orcish and then probably like a 4th 2 or 3 split of Thalia. Pretty happy just to keep going after mana here. Oh, I meant to yield until next end step. That's rough. That's really rough. I thought I clicked on this one. That is all good. Yeah, I think it's great with Fiend Artisan as well because your opponent can't see it coming and they have to do everything they want to before that happens. There is a world where I should have returned Punishing Fire to play around Endurance, but I guess I don't need it yet either, so I don't have to play into Endurance. Green Suns. I am happy to hold up Endurance, return Punishing Fire here, and then next turn Green Suns for Ramanap, get back Wasteland. Yeah, I think the one nice thing about Orc is that it will be quite pricey, so not everyone will have access to them at the start. So hopefully leagues aren't just like Orcish everywhere, because I don't think there's anyone that I've spoken to that usually runs some sort of black splash that isn't going to splash them. It's kind of like every single deck just wants it, except for maybe like a fast combo deck or something like that, but a lot of the kind of mid-rangey decks, I've seen a lot of it. I don't believe the new cards are already in chests. I believe they might take at least another little bit to get there. Allurin, maybe? Okay. Uro? Probably either Uro, Endurance. Grist is pretty cool, I guess. I don't think I actually want to give them back the lands. I assume they play Loam somewhere, but I'm actually okay with just doing nothing here. Could have also killed the Grist there, yeah, that's true. I also have access to Questing Beast here. But yeah, maybe the Punishing Fire line was better. Oof. We'll take those. But yeah, I believe Bowmaster is like a $50 card here in Australia, which is pretty brutal. Oh, Natural Order. Okay. That's actually fine. They do get to reveal a lot of stuff. But... oh, they revealed Caracas and they haven't played a land yet. That's pretty brutal. What does that do? Nothing. Atraxa entered through natural order because they sacrificed their little 1/1 insect. We have Wasteland, Windswept Heath. If we had Caracas, it'd be pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wasteland, Caracas, get it back? No. It could be Scrib Ranger. it could just be Scrib Ranger. Which makes you pretty happy to use the... Atraxa does not have Trample. See if they want to force this. They could think it's going to be Fiend Artisan, and that way force. Yeah. Caracas would be pretty cool off the top. There's definitely a few things. But yeah, I think if we really thought about it, we'd probably put them on natural order, and instead of getting the questing beast, we just take them off the... It's tough because with only one red, we can't actually kill the Grist and also the little guy. So we can't take them off natural order when they natural ordered. But we do have Containment Priest, which is kind of cool. So I like these. I like the priests. Collector Oof. Insurance is probably coming out. Sadly, didn't make it down to Eternal Weekend. Just due to not having enough leave, as I've got a trip coming up in August. But Nick went down from MTG Mate, had a really good time, which is very cool to hear. I think it all comes back to that Punishing Fire as well, where we didn't stop in their end step. Because that's a whole turn that we get like another creature on the board. Tough. Yeah, this is actually just a straight Punishing Map build, so no Black Source. But there have been a lot of times where I've wanted to search for Grist. Qualify for an RC? Very nice. That'll be sweet. I'm not too sure about Outland. Not too sure. I think so. There's probably not too many things that I'm actually worried about. Mums are still fine. Spirits are still fine. Punishing Fire. It's actually really tough. I think Beast is still great. Could be like a Minsk. And one Hierarch effect. Cool deck though. Atraxas are a really nice target for natural order. I believe it doesn't draw either. You just look at the top 10 and choose one of each, so it gets around Spirit of the Lab as well. But yeah, I think like I think that game 2 of Initiative, obviously where they had like the turn 1 initiative creature, is really tough to handle sometimes as the opposing player. But I think a good way to kind of get over any sort of like feelings of salt there is just to realize like how cool that would feel for them to like, can you imagine just having like a turn 1 caves? Very, very cool. Yeah, this is a pretty great hand. A lot of pressure early on, which I love. Also having like, you know, turn 1 Noble into turn 2 remove and Wasteland potentially, which I probably only want to do if I draw an additional card. A little bit at odds here, because if we go for a red source, we can Punishing Fire and Wasteland next turn. If we don't, then we have to play the Grove to Punishing Fire, can't play the Wasteland. But if we don't get a white source, then Noble's our only white source, which is pretty interesting. So we will go for Taker here. I think just with what we have in play as well, we don't really need access to double white. And I think only if I draw another land off the top, I'm happy to... Okay, the Wasteland play isn't even there, but the Spirit play is very nice because we get to go Grove, Spirit, they Brainstorm, and then we have a really nice setup next turn of either Minsc and Boo and Questing Beast. One little thing to realize is that we can't draw cards off the Minsc and Boo throw with Spirit in play. That hits a force, which is pretty great for us. Getting rid of a forced negation, which obviously means the Minsc is probably a little bit easier to get down. Also, at this spot right here, what we can do is play the Wasteland, play the Minsc, attack with Exalted for 2 at them, and then throw the 2/2 Boo token at the Noble without having to use the Punishing Fire, which also allows us to get the Minsc and Boo into play. I can only assume, as they just got rid of a force and a force, that they don't have another answer here. Well, they'll Brainstorm for one. Huge. So now we get to attack with Exalted. They take the 2. And then we draw 2, get rid of the Noble. And it all works out pretty well. Nice. That's like a really nice benefit of having Minsc and Boo in a deck with Exalted creatures, is that sometimes you don't even need to build out. Okay, here we most likely have an Endurance. So I think what we want to do here is Wasteland the Bayou first. Could also Cradle 2, 3, 4 into Questing Beast, and then also hold up Blast. Both of these creatures also bigger than Endurance. Sure. We also now have Questing Beast holding back on defense to keep the Minsc at bay. They're also down on mana, so they can't natural order this turn. Nice. I think we run it back in a very similar manner. I don't think there's too much here that changes. Yeah. Minsk is really cool. Especially in a deck that gets it out early. There's definitely been times where I've just wanted like an Ancient Tomb in the list over the Cradle, because it still allows you to go Green Source into Ancient Tomb, Green Suns for 2 on turn 2, and it also allows you to get the Minsk out earlier. It's just like a budget way to deal with the Cradle. How would I compare to Comet to Minsk? I wouldn't compare them because you never know what you'll get with Comet, but you do with Minsk, and that's why I like it. It's very reliable. You always know what it's going to do. This is a pretty great hand. Okay. So Wasteland's a perfect draw here. And one thing that actually came up on Twitter today was if we went planes into swords or planes into mum, it then wouldn't allow us on turn 2 to both play Wasteland and also Green Suns for Dried Arbor. So here we want to go for Savannah into swords on the Noble, and then next turn we can either mum and Wasteland, or we can Wasteland and ramp, which is great. So by not what's the word, pigeonholing our mana, it's much better to go with the jewels. Could also go for like an upkeep swords to play around Force Negation, but I don't know if they keep that in like for game 3. Hey Carador, welcome. Hope you're well. What a hate bears? Hey Mark, welcome. You know what? I would say a hate bear is a 2 power, 2 toughness creature that costs 2 mana and has a disruptive effect built into it. I'm pretty happy to take them off mana here. And then Green Suns here, so that next turn we can double spell with both Mum and Spirit. That was close. All right. Okay. Okay. In this case, I'm happy just to beat down. Also, if they have another removal spell, I'd rather them use it on the second spirit that we have than the mum. Knight's pretty great. They can't hold up. I guess they could have Ice Fang, but they can't draw. They can draw off the Ice Fang. I'm happy for them to not have the creature, let's be fair. If they want to trade here, that's more than fine. Wow. So that means they obviously care about the spirit, or else they wouldn't have. So I think in that case, we're actually happy to go Mum and Spirit overnight here. Because the natural order deck wants creatures in play. So a creature on their side taking out one of our creatures means they actually really care about it. So let's go for Taiga, just for color consistency. Play the Mum, and then play the other Spirit. Okay. They even had the swords for the Spirit, which is interesting. But they're really trying to keep our board clear. So now they do have like Green Suns for Grist. Or just Grist. Okay. Happy to play the Canopy here. And then because if I attack the Grist and they block, they obviously have no creatures, but they can just untap, tick up Grist, and then natural it anyway, so I'd rather keep the Spirit in play. Hey Ben, welcome. Hope you're well. If we want to Canopy as well, we also have to Canopy currently in their turn. Okay. Apex Altasaur? Interesting. Okay. They have one card left, but they do have the Grist. I don't even want to play the Caracas just yet. But I will upkeep draw. Okay. You could attack first, I guess. Because then I would just lose it if I block. Really needs to be Green Suns into Questing Beast here. I think I'm happy to take this and just do most of my stuff at end step. Hey, FGC, welcome. Hope you're well. Alright. Return this. Probably hitting the Grist just because if we either hit Grove or another Punishing Fire, we get to take out the Grist. Or Green Suns. Yeah, I guess that hits the Leo, which is nice, but... Hey, thank you very much. Very proud of receiving that. Very, very nice. A really humbling experience. Big fan of the cast. It's tough because, like, yeah, I think we just have to blast this. Like, it's so tough. I think they keep the Leovold because the Krakus just draws them a card every turn. Probably happy to not... yeah. Opponent a fan, which is really nice. All the best for the weekend. Yeah. Tough. There were a few times tonight where, like, Punishing Fire is nice, but Bolt would be cool. Bolt would be pretty sweet. Not too... A 2-3 is obviously pretty abysmal, but all in all, not too unhappy with the return. But yeah, I have tried Bolt in the past, and although it doesn't have the, like, we hardly saw Grove tonight. Which, like, if I did change this up, would still want to go back up to 24 lands. Would play a second Taiga. We'll play those bolts. And then 22 land, a little bit low. But still quite nice. Something similar to this. I guess if you wanted to increase card draw as well, you could play Esper Sentinel. I felt Spirit was quite good. Spirit definitely had its moments. You could even try to play Thalia in this version just because you're not playing something like Punishing Fire. But yeah, tough one. Sylvan Library is a card that I think is dated a bit. I do like it personally, but it's just a great card to be able to filter your deck because, you know, without cantrips, you are susceptible to just drawing lands, which is part of what you sign up for. Or even something like, you know, a turn 10 Noble Hierarch, you don't really want to see. But all in all, pretty nice. There wasn't really a situation where I missed having something in the deck, other than potentially a Grist. Like, it would be kind of cool if the 23rd land was a Bayou. And then we played a Grist. That would be 62. And then I could see a world where maybe... I do like 3 Minsk. I think Mark is very on point when he says that he finds that the sweet spot for Minsk and Boo in Maverick is 3. And there isn't too much of an ask for putting Grist in the deck. I think it's fine to have the 1 Bayou, and then you also have the 2 big Noble Hierarchs, and then you also have Green Suns, of course. But then it's like, oh, you could play, you know, Plague Engineer on the board, and it just like gets towards 4 color, which Birds of Paradise as well. Tonight, there were a few times where having the Exalted was very good, and also the ability to attack. But yeah, maybe in a 4 color deck, you know, having just 1 more mana dork that taps for both white and black is worth it. Yeah. Honestly, like, mums are fine, but mums... There's nothing in this deck, other than Collector Oof, you could say, that you really want to actively protect. You have a lot of replacement cards, like, sure, like, protecting your Spirit is nice, but you do have multiples of them that you do draw into quite actively, so... It's not like the days where, you know, Mum protecting Gaddock Teeg was just, you know, the win, so... I could see a world where you drop on the mums. Yeah. A lot of little things. If you're watching this and you haven't checked out Strash Daddy's stream, definitely go check him out at twitch.tv/Strash Daddy. You can also see him in chat right now. Click on his name, I believe, and follow him there. You can also find him very actively in the Maverick Discord, which is cool. But yeah, overall thoughts... nice to be back. Nice to get that, like, that red zest back into my life that is Punishing Mav. Because I do really enjoy it. But, yeah, sometimes the cards don't line up. And that's just Maverick. I was going to say that's just Magic, but that's just Maverick as well. But, hey, I'll be back probably on Sunday evening. I've been toying around with a pretty cool green-black slow depths list, which looks like that's not it. Green Black Saga Depths. Yeah, this is it. Which has been pretty fun to play with and pretty competitive as well, which is nice. So very similar to the old school lists that you'll see, the David Longs, sometimes the Tom Heps if he isn't playing Turbo Depths, but a little bit different in that you do have a plan B in both Urza's Saga, which has been fantastic, and you do have Invasion of Ikoria, which you can also combo out with Hexmage. The only issue being that this does run into very similar, if not the exact same removal, because it's a legendary creature as Maritlage. But it is pretty great. Like, some decks just can't really deal with it, which is an upside. And then for Saga targets, we have Expedition Map, Pithing Needle, and Shadow Spear. Needle typically naming Wasteland. We do have a Ghost Quarter here as a way to get rid of something like Karakas or Maze of Ith, or maybe even an opposing Saga or stage. And then the board, I've been toying with it a bit. Not too sure on the Tabernacle. Sudden Edicts have been really strong as removal, especially as non-counterable, and your opponent can't, flash something else in to keep the creature they care about, which is nice. But yeah, I think it's really hard to put it up against like Naiadepts and say, where we're at, but I think this is a pretty nice start on where slow depths could be in the black and green space. The 2 Inquisitions in the main deck as well, you could just run the full 4, but Haywire Might would be actually fantastic. I think Haywire Might should at least be in the 75, and that was just a card that I did not even think about, because it's got so much versatility, and we do have Tower in the board to take out the 5/5 Kuldra, but Haywire as just a target is really strong, so I will definitely make room for that somewhere. Thank you, Mark. Too kind. But hey, I hope you all enjoyed this. A big thank you to the new followers and the new subs. I very much appreciate you. If you want to find me on YouTube, you can find me here. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me here. And of course, also on the Discord. I'm going to quickly see who else is streaming. To all those on YouTube watching, a huge thank you as well, especially for those of you who watched to the end. I believe Gabe was streaming. No. Actually, yes. Very cool. All right. Peace out. Enjoy your weeks ahead. And I'll catch you soon. Enjoy your weekends. Take care. Farewell.